For those select few that are already initiated, you should already know what's coming next. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty here in a minute. But what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So before we do anything else,
Alright, he gonna tear their ass up. Simple fact.
if you haven't smiled yet today, now would be the perfect time to do so. Immediately. Serve it with finesse, or you can have it violently thrust into it. It's however you want to take it. Just smile. And also understand that I do want to be the smile on your face, but I can also be the monkey on your back. It's however you want to play. I'm in this bitch regardless. And down for whatever. Yeah. You done fucked around and clicked on some trill shit this time. And you better not say nothing. You better not do nothing. I'm that cool. I'm the coolest motherfucker in the whole cosmos. So you fucking with the right one. Rodrigo. You gotta roll your R's. What it was. Y'all already know who it is. And if not, that's my name. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge Yourself. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight. And what this also is our first deep dive into the intricacies that are you. And what I mean by that is this right here. This a little something about the major aspects between the sun and the ascendant in your natal chart. And understand that I said major aspects. That means I'm talking about conjunctions, oppositions, trines, squares, sextiles, and inconjunctions or quincunxes, which is what inconjunctions are also referred to these days. All right. So I'm not talking about sesquadrants or quintiles or biquintiles or semi-squares or semi-sextiles. No, not this time. first. We got to master the basics. And in gaining an understanding of that, everything else will kind of come into our light. All right. So with that in mind, what I do before anything else is explain the energy that comes along with the planetary bodies or the luminaries or the points that are coming in the chart that are going to be an aspect to each other. So we're going to talk a little bit about the sun. And that's a beautiful thing right there, because the sun represents our ego. Okay. And, just like the sun is at the center of the solar system and everything revolves around it, the ego is at the center of our identity and everything revolves around it. Okay. And so our sun sign, that's going to show the primary indication of the forms of experience that we're attracted to in life. All right. Whereas the house placement of the sun is going to show our primary area of expression in life. All right. And there's a physical, a psychological, and an emotional significance to the house placement of the sun. So pay attention to it. And while the sun's not the most important placement in my opinion, and it's not really in the opinion of most other astrologers that I know, it's really the moon that's the most important placement in the chart, because the moon is the closest celestial body in relation to Earth. So it has the strongest effect on our moods and personality on a day-to-day basis. All right. And that's law. But the aspects that the sun make are going to be the most prominent aspects in your chart. Okay. I know you might feel like the Saturn aspects be on your ass more. I know you feel like you might embody the Pluto aspects more, but, they're not the most prominent or the most important, because the aspects that the sun make are going to be the most important. All right. Now, in order to know the house placement of the sun, you're going to need to know that ascendant. You're going to need to know that birth time. I know there's some people like myself who say that they can guess the ascendant by just, looking at people's personality traits or paying attention to certain, characteristics in their physical, that you can notice, but you really can't know for sure without that birth time. You can guesstimate and you can make educated guesses, but you cannot know the ascendant for sure without the birth time. All right. And what the ascendant is the sign that was rising in the east at the moment that we were born. All right. And it's really our outward personality. And there's a lot of people that try to call the ascendant our mask. And I used to kind of think about it like that. But then the more that I learned and the more I gained an understanding of astrology, I understood how significant the ascendant is, because the ascendant isn't just our outward personality. It's us. It's who you are. And with the ascendant being the beginning of your chart, that's where your first house starts. It sets everything in place in your life right there. All right. It says a lot, man. It puts the houses in place. So the ascendant is the most significant point in the chart. It's not the most important placement. That's the moon. The aspects that the sun make are the most prominent aspects, but the ascendant is the most significant point in the chart because it puts everything else in place. Okay. And so when we're looking at an aspect to the ascendant, always understand that opposite to the ascendant is going to be the seventh house cusp or the descendant. All right. And that's the place where we meet others in the world. And this axis of the ascendant and the descendant is how we clarify ourselves through relationships. And any planets in aspect to that axis are going to indicate the types of people and the types of relationships we seek, as well as how and why we seek them motherfuckers. All right. Now, square to the ascendant is always going to be the midheaven and the Natal, or the IC and the MC. All right. And the MC or the midheaven is our public image. And that's where we're trying to go. That's a status we're trying to get to in life. All right. That's how we want to be seen. And that's kind of how we are seen eventually if we get our shit right. All right. Now there can be bad aspects going on with the midheaven. Understand that. And we'll get to that eventually, but not today. All right. Now, opposite to the midheaven is going to be the Natal or the IC. And that's the indication of our roots and our heritage. And that's where we come from. That's who we are deep inside. All right. And that axis of the midheaven and the Natal or the MC and the IC indicates the way that we grow in life. All right. And those are always going to be square to your ascendant right there. So anytime that somebody says that, oh, we're looking at a planet that's in aspect to the ascendant, that's in square aspect to the ascendant, that means that it's either at the midheaven point or at that Natal point or the MC point or the IC point. And if it's opposite to the ascendant, that means it's down close to that that descendant point. Okay. Which means it's going to be at the very end of that sixth house or at the very beginning of that seventh house. All right. So now we got an understanding of that. we can get down to the nitty gritty for real. So when we're looking at Sun conjunct to the Ascendant, the first thing to understand about this is when you have Sun conjunct to the Ascendant, that means that you were born around dawn or around sunrise. All right. And I know that because anytime that I don't have somebody's birth time, I'm going to do what's called a sunrise chart for them. That means I'm going to put their birth time is at sunrise. All right. And that puts their ascendant as the same sign as their sun sign. And that's cool. But the fact of the matter is most people don't have it like that. That's not how it goes for them. So you're really just, just trying to put things in place so you can take a look. Because the planets are still going to be where they're supposed to be. But now that ascendant is off and the houses could be way messed up. And then it's going to reflect things in their personality that might not be them at all whatsoever. Okay. So the thing to understand is if you don't know your birth time, but your mom says, hey, I believe you were born right around dawn or right around breakfast time, then your ascendant is going to be either the same time as your sun time. Your ascendant is either going to be the same sign as your sun sign. Pardon me, y'all. I was trying to talk a little too fast, or it's going to be right below it. But that's what that means right there. All right. And when I see this aspect going on in the chart with Sun conjunct to the Ascendant, the first thing to understand about these people right here is they are going to come across strong. And because of the strength and competency they project, they aren't typically ever going to be people who can just go unnoticed. I mean, that just ain't them. And they themselves know that shit too, because another thing that having this aspect does is make a person keenly aware of how they come across to other people. So, and it's kind of like so much so that, they can get a little bit too self-conscious sometimes with Sun conjunct to the Ascendant. But as long as they don't allow themselves to really just start obsessing way too much about what people think about them, they'll always be all right. I promise that, man. And, it's just because more than anything else, when I see Sun conjunct to the Ascendant, man, I see somebody who truly believes that they're the master of their own fate. Okay. These are if they even believe in fate at all. What I should have said is they're the master of their own destiny, because really most people with Sun conjunct to the Ascendant don't believe in fate. They believe making it happen is the best way to do anything. And that's what they do, man. And a lot of folks with this aspect right here, because of that mind right there, they're natural born leaders in life. And, these are just people who take any negativity spewed in their direction as a direct challenge, man. And they will rise to that shit. Best believe. You got to understand that these folks right here, they identify extremely strongly with whatever image they project. And 9 times out of 10, they are going to try to project an image of somebody that is capable as fuck. For real. So don't be surprised when they live up to whatever it is they pushing up on you, man. For real, man. This right here means heart. This right here points to courage. And I've also noticed that kids that have their Sun conjunct to their Ascendant in their natal chart, they're usually a little bit more mature than the other kids when they were growing up. And if it's not that, it's like these are the kids that knew from a very early age exactly who they are. There ain't no identity crisis here. They've always known who they are. And they know what they're capable of. They know their limitations. And so that right there puts them at an advantage that a lot of people are never going to be at, because they have to learn the hard way. They have to learn what their limitations are. They have to learn what they're capable of. They have to learn who they are. I've had to learn who I am. But people with Sun conjunct to the Ascendant, they don't have to do that right there. Okay? But I will say this though. If their Sun is in the 12th house conjunct to the Ascendant, then it changes it a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? Than if it's in the 1st house conjunct to the Ascendant. Because what it does if it's in the 12th house conjunct to the Ascendant is make it just a little bit harder for these folks to express their will to be great. So then what you get is motherfuckers who daydream and fantasize about taking over the game or killing it at center stage, but there's something that's kind of holding them back sometimes. And it just takes them a little bit longer than the 1st house Sun people to put themselves out there and feel comfortable with who they are, man. And, hey, it's just like the people with Sun conjunct to the Ascendant in the 1st house are natural go-getters. And the people with the 12th house Sun, it's going to take them just a little bit more to come up out of that. Because there's just with the 12th house there's just a little bit of doubt into the mix. All right. So when we're looking at sun opposite to the ascendant right here. Yeah. Oh man. This one is a trip because these are those people who are always trying to find themselves through other people. So their relationships are extremely important to them in life, man. And these are those folks that as long as you've known them, they've just always had a rider with them. And, that doesn't always have to be their lover, because it could be anybody. It could be their spouse, their brother, their sister, their best friend, you know what I'm saying? Their partner, you know what I'm saying? Their partner in crime, whatever it is that they choose. These are those people that, they just do better in one-on-one relationships. And when they got somebody to rock with them, that's when they're in their element with this one right here, man. And, they just come alive when they're in a one-on-one setting with the other person. You know what I'm saying? And, and they're also just awesome at taking a step back and putting themselves in other people's shoes. So that could really help people with sun opposite to the ascendant excel in any job that requires, close negotiations or law or advisement or salesmanship, when you're able to, work something out with people. Like, they excel in all those situations right there. But there is a downside to it. Understand that. Because having the sun on the 7th house cusp means needing constant feedback from other people in order to know what the fuck is going on with self. Yeah, man. And that shit right there could be a motherfucker, man. But that's really what it is with this aspect, man. Because having the sun opposite to the ascendant means that you really see yourself better from other people's perspectives. And because of that, you don't really like doing shit alone. But also understand that just because these folks right here like having somebody rocking with them most of the time does not mean that they're submissive. You got to look at the sign to see what's really going on with that. But I'll tell you this. These people right here with their sun opposite to the ascendant, they're really not the type of people that are ever going to give their power away to anybody. Not all of it. Okay? But also understand that they're usually not going to claim their full power either without anybody else's help. And also understand that when I say anybody, I don't just mean just anybody or just somebody. Not with the 7th house. That's more the 5th house or the 10th house or even the 1st house. With this one, this means a special somebody. Somebody that this native trusts to a certain degree. And, the trick to this aspect right here with sun opposite to the ascendant is just learning to be comfortable with self while also honoring the fact that our relationships are going to be crucial to our development. All right. So just remember that. Now, let's get a little more positive with it. Okay. Because with sun trine to the ascendant, hey, these folks right here, the things with these folks is, people really gravitate towards them is the thing with this right here. And it's because they're really positive and they also just give off good vibes. And because, they just really have a deep desire to be honest and to be straight up and to carry themselves the right way. And, it's like they have an innate self-confidence that creates a distinct air of swag and authority around them. But there's also a genuine warmth that doesn't make it come across as offensive or pompous to other people. And, it just really just helps them out in all aspects of life. Because when you couple that right there with the fact that they're so creative and vibrant and they keep such a positive mindset with this right here, it really tends to put them in winning situations in life over and over again. And as long as they don't allow themselves to get lazy or complacent, then there's really no limit to what they can accomplish with this one. Because these are those folks right here who don't let nothing get them down. I mean, nothing. So the trick to this one is just finding a way to stay hungry, because laziness and complacency, hey, they can ended up in some missed opportunities. Pardon me. And with the sun trine to the ascendant, that's unacceptable, because with this one right here, missed opportunities will cost the native way more than mistakes made ever could. And that's real. So with sun trine to the ascendant, you just got to let yourself shine and be willing to grind. And it's going to all come to you in time. Best believe. Now, with sun square to the ascendant, pardon me first. with Sun square to the Ascendant. More than anything else with this one, these folks right here never seem to be able to come across it the way that they intend to. And whether it's real or not, there's just something about the way that they carry themselves that make people think that they have a fucked up attitude all the damn time. And to be honest, a lot of the times they do. They do. And if that's the motherfucking case, 9 times out of 10, that shit is just a complex that they developed from having a fucked up childhood. So what this square right here presents is a unique opportunity to check yourself. It represents a unique opportunity to take a step back and see, what the fuck is really going on with self. You have to see, hey, are they looking at me fucked up? Or am I giving off a fucked up look? Are they disrespecting me? Or do I feel disrespected? You understand? And if I am, why? Why? What the fuck is going on with me? See, the first step to resolving any issue is just acknowledge that there is in fact an issue. And everything with these folks right here that they try to express, kind of just gets taken the wrong way, man. But the problem ain't with what they're trying to express. Is with how they're trying to express it most of the time. So a lot of the time, just simply taking a step back, checking their attitude at the door and trying to keep a positive mindset can go a long way in dealing with this square right here. Cause if they just happen to choose that other path and let that negativity win, this could really end up being a lonely and rough life for this square right here. And, it's also just like, if they can put blame on anybody else, then they need to realize that they can put blame on self. Okay? Because a lot of times with Sun square to the Ascendant, it was their own fucked up attitude that fucked up their latitude. Period. So, get yourself right. Now, with Sun sextile to the Ascendant. So, this one right here is a lot like the trine, except the fact that that air of confidence and authority that comes with the trine is not with this one. There's more of a charming and gracious energy that comes here. And because of that, people really like folks with this aspect right here. And because they can go with the flow, there's really not much that can take them off their game. But at the same time, they can get so caught up in that easygoing nature and, riding with that flow that they can fail to capitalize on certain opportunities. And especially if there's a risk involved. Okay. These aren't gamblers right here. Okay. So with this one, you just need to learn how to show respect to the blessings you've been given by utilizing them instead of just living an unfulfilled life in slack mode, and just wasting potential. All right. Because that's definitely there. You have all the talent and skills and graciousness and people are going to be there to help you. All you got to do is do something with it with the sextile. All right. Because a sextile can lay dormant. It's not dynamic like the trine. And lastly, with Sun in conjunct or quincunx to the Ascendant. With this right here, you're going to get people who have some type of disconnect going on between the way that they express themselves and their sense of who the fuck they really are. And that shit right there kind of causes them to feel inhibited and awkward, like they're having to learn how to interact with the world from scratch, which in itself kind of only frustrates them and makes them want to clam up even more. And so that shit right there can really start the beginning of a vicious cycle until they learn how to chill the fuck out and take the time to get to know their goddamn self. Period. Cause with this one, the problem ain't with the fact that people misunderstand them. It's more the fact that the native is confused about who the fuck they really are. So once they get that in line, a lot of the stuff that they're going through in life will fall into place. But hey, you don't have to believe a word I just said, because the fact of the matter is, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. And what I mean is we all have all this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And there's been some priceless knowledge of self. Hey, if y'all fuck with me on any level, y'all should have already hit the like button. If not, you can do so right now. And understand it's not for my ego. It's for the algorithm. Just help me expand my platform. And you can hit the dislike button too. And that's cool. The world needs haters. We straight. Either way, give me some interactions. Hit that button, Drop a comment. Tell me if you fool with me or not. It's all love from my end. If y'all are looking for any astrological readings whatsoever, you could hit me up in my comments below, but I'm just going to direct you to my email, which is mr.turner1300@gmail.com. All right. I thank everybody for their love and support. Y'all keep it real. Until next time, just smile, man. Don't let nobody fuck with you. We're going to be coming up with this. Man, I'm just going to get out my shit, man. Y'all keep it playing at all times because y'all know that's what I'm going to do.